Hello, everyone. Hey, everybody. I am back with another Love Lessons. And today, the topic is the truth about men. I've still been posting some questions to men. I've still been having conversations with men. And I am just basically asking every question that I could possibly think of that I've had myself while I was single, and then some of the things that I still see women struggling with, because this is definitely a passion that I've continued to develop over the years. I am a life coach. If you don't know me or you don't know the things that I've done, I'm also a teacher, so I'm very passionate about youth as well. And I see that young people, well as old people, everyone kind of struggles with relationships. So I definitely wanted to put my perspective out there about relationships. So if you are here and you're watching live, please say something, because that is why I do these live, because I want to hear from you while I'm talking so I can interact with you. If you see this, the replay, I still want you to comment because I want to know what you think, what you got out of it. If you got anything out of it, try to be positive, but if it's not really, if you don't feel like some of the content is effective or necessary, that's why I'm doing this, because I want to hear from you. So I've been doing this for like maybe a year now. So you can go back through my old playlist and check out on YouTube and check out all the different topics that I've done. One of the biggest ones, I'm definitely not a big YouTuber yet, but one of the biggest ones I noticed that people do check out is Are Women Too Independent? And I'm seeing a lot of issues, I would say, with women and femininity and different things like that. So today, before I really get into the actual topic, I had made a note of some things that a guy's response in one of the groups that I'm in, and I thought that this will be helpful to women. So if you are a woman and you want to get better in your current relationship, or you just want to attract a quality guy, I'm not going to throw out the word high value because that's getting just too out of hand, but a quality guy according to your own standards. This is what a guy, I think let me see. I'm not even going to name him. I told him that I was definitely going to read what he said, but I'm not going to throw his name out there. But this is a guy that's like a six-figure earner, and he seems to be the type of guy that a lot of women are going for. So I thought I would put out there what he finds attractive in regards to how he rates women. Okay, so I'm just going to read what he said because he said it so well that I really don't need to summarize this. So he said, just how a woman carries herself and interacts with others. A feminine woman commands attention and respect through humility and grace. She can make people feel better about themselves just in how she addresses them. They feel important because she reflects their value as a human being in how she speaks to them, the way she moves through a room, how she sits, how she handles disagreements. So many women sound and act like men when they get angry. A woman who stays in her femininity during disagreements is going to be heard by her man in ways a masculine woman cannot be heard. She is just another dude you're beefing with. LOL. Basically, femininity brings out the best in a man. He subconsciously will react to her differently and care about her feelings more than a woman who basically is the contrary. So I want to hear what you guys think about that. And there's a little more to that, but I'm going to I gotta wait for that next point because he has so much to say and I thought it was so useful. Again, if you are watching, let me know that you are on. Say hey. say what's up if you heard some of what I just said in regards to this guy. So the truth about men, one of the biggest things that I'm learning is that they really want us to be feminine. They really want us to be feminine. Hey, Amber. So some women, I'm noticing it comes very naturally to us, and then some women have had to work on it. So to the ladies, I have had to work on it myself. I'm continuing to work on the femininity. But it's so huge. It's such a big deal that it affects your ranking with men. And yes, men still rank us, okay? And I would say even for the women that are already married, you really do have to stay on your game. You still got to bring it, okay? So that's just a part of being married, that you're committing to being the best that you can be. At least that's how I look at it, is I'm still committed to being the best woman that I could be because of my love for myself, and then also because of my love for my husband. So that being said, just really walking in the power of my femininity is so important. And I think a lot of women, we get really caught up in just being independent, being self-sufficient. I wouldn't even say, I used the wrong word. Being independent, I think, is the big thing, because he made another comment about the women, and this is before I really get into my real opinion, because I felt like what he said was so helpful that I wanted to share it. So he made another comment in regards to women being independent, right? So he says a lot of women emphasize survival and being independent. And he said, in order to be feminine, you can't think like that. You have to value your man on another level because you need him. So, ladies, I want to know if you think that that's true. And guys, I want to know what you think about that too. He said, I had to learn to accept that. No, that was actually me responding. So I'm going to get back to that. But anyway, he says, many black women confuse being self-sufficient with being independent. All adults should be self-sufficient. No metal needed. So ladies, I guess as when we talk about how independent we are, that is not a turn on the guys, okay? So then it says independence is a cancer to any relationship because they are by nature interdependent. It seems like 99.99999% of women have absolutely no awareness, forget about understanding of this fact. So I really want to hear from you. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that women really get it confused about being independent, and that's what holds them back from getting into a relationship that is healthy? Because a lot of women, they feel like, okay, well, I know I can get a man, but just because you can get a man does not mean that you can develop and nurture a healthy relationship. Those are two different things. So I really want to know what you think about that. If you need some time to think about it, I know it's a loaded question, then definitely inbox me on this one, or you can email me at moreinyoucoaching.com. I'll make sure I put that in the comment section so that you can go ahead and make sure you reach out to me and tell me your thoughts about this. Because my own personal struggles when it comes to being independent or being too independent and struggling in my femininity is because from a young age, I was just kind of bred and I was taught to become independent, be self-sufficient, take care of yourself. So my concept of needing someone was just like, I was just completely, that I just felt like all I could depend on was me, right? Because I felt like all I had was myself and God. So I would pray a lot and all of that, But when it comes to looking at a person and needing them for anything, that was just a foreign concept for me. So it really did impact my level of femininity. So I was not able to even walk in that kind of grace, or I couldn't move in that way until I started to change my mindset. And it's been a process, because you got to think about a young lady raised by a single mom that is teaching, be independent, be independent. And my mom didn't have anyone really supporting her in raising me. So I really didn't have that type of example. And it wasn't like I didn't want to be feminine. It was just that it was very easy for me to dip down into the masculine energy. So I believe that I just have developed over time. But the first step to change is awareness. And I'm only sharing this because I think so many women, they just refuse to admit that they have struggled in this area, or that they still struggle in the area, because we think that if we take care of our hair, if we do our nails, if we put makeup on, if we dress sexy, things like that, or we dress with femininity, it doesn't even have to be sexy, then we think we're being feminine. But it is so much more than that. It's really about your attitude as well, because the way, like he said, the way that you handle disagreements and things like that. So that is huge for guys, because it's like, you can be the prettiest woman, but if your attitude is off, then it's such a turn off for a guy. So if your attitude is on point, then I believe with older guys and what I've been talking to them, if they're over 30, then it's such a turn on. So say they've ranked you on a scale of 1 to 10 or whatever, they've ranked you maybe a 6 or 7. Once you show them who you are and how you move, once y'all go out and he really gets to know you, you can move up to an 8 or 9 because of your level of femininity and how you move and how you make him feel. So I think a lot of women, we kind of forget, especially once we feel like we got you tied down and we're married to you, we kind of forget the power of femininity and staying in that energy when you're dealing with a man, and how much that can do for the relationship, and how much that can do to get you into the type of relationship with the guy that you actually want. So I have noticed a lot that we really do have a lot of work to do with that. And I'm definitely excited about sharing that. But I wanted to hear with women what you guys think, because a lot of guys, when I start asking them a lot of questions, they feel like we don't want to know, we don't want to hear what they have to say about how they feel, how they rank us, because there are scales. I was like flipped out about this, that when guys at all ages, I'm a teacher, so I'm in the classroom a lot of times. I work with at-risk youth, so I'm in the classroom a lot of times, and it's all guys between the ages of 16 and 21. And a lot of times they will, like, they're rating young females. I've had to stop them with the locker room talk several times because they're rating females. So I noticed that in listening to men, that when they get older, they don't necessarily do it around females, but if you ask them, they will tell you, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give this woman a 10, or I give this woman she about a 7 or 8 or something like that. And I'm like, wow, are we as women? And I would love to hear a woman respond. So if you listen to this, please respond if you want to know or you don't care. I really want to hear from you, because guys think you just don't care. Like, we've gotten to that phase where we don't care. And me personally, when I was single and dating, I did care about, like, how do guys see me? You know, where am I ranking on the scale? And I noticed that the more that I leveled up, the better I was treated. And I'm talking about by everybody. Even if I'm in the grocery store, even if I am at work, if I am just like out and about, let alone dating. I noticed that the better I looked and the more feminine that I acted, the better treatment that I received. So that's why I was like, okay, there's actually like, there's real levels to this. There are ways that you can behave, and there's ways that you can look to get better, a better reaction from people. And I'm not talking about just guys that want to date you, want to be with you. I'm talking about you really can improve your life just by being more feminine, just by leveling up. So what I learned in that process, when I, started to understand that there's rankings, even as I'm getting older, I'm like, there's still rankings. Guys are still ranking women. So I'm noticing that, like if you're around a 6 or a 7, you're going to be treated a certain way from a guy, or out in public, at work, or whatever, versus if you are, in their mind, are 8 or 9. So if you guys are interested in talking just about that, let me know, and I'll do a whole video on this ranking system that I learned, or I found out about. But back to the topic about the truth about men and what I've learned so far is, the first thing is the fact that they do rank you, and there are levels to it. So if they think that if you're in a dating scene, even, I believe even when you're married, but if you're in a dating scene and they look at you as a 6, you are going to get a different date than if they looked at you as if you are 9. Okay, so that's why it matters to the ladies that's like, no, I think I'm this, I think I'm that. The way that you can tell how a guy looks at you, regardless of how you think how you think you rank, and guys, tell me if I'm wrong, please tell me, because I need this information for my book, Love Lessons, okay? So if you're going out and for the first time, and this guy looks at you and he thinks you are around a 6 or 7, it's going to be a coffee date, period. Like, a lot of times, it's going to be a drink. It's not necessarily, let's grab a drink if you do drink, or it's going to be, let's grab coffee, if he's just not looking at you as your wifey or whatever. If you are between the 8 and 10, then that's when you can get to, okay, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do with the ideal situation, ideal guy. There's always guys that they don't care who you are, you're going on a coffee date, because they don't want to necessarily they don't want to necessarily invest in the situation yet, because they don't know you, okay? Because like I said there earlier, when I said like femininity could bump you up. So say if you've been talking on the phone primarily, or they don't really know you very well, and they look at you physically and they feel like you are around 6, 7-ish, not quite up into those 8, that beautiful, gorgeous, absolutely stunning, then they need to actually interact with you to see if you're going to make it up to that 8, 9, 10 level, to figure out how much they want to invest. So that stuff matters. When it comes down to your look is way more important than I think we give credit for as women, because sometimes I feel like within our society, it's always, we have started to do the self-love movement, and I think that's important. But at the end of the day, people are looking at the outside of you because they don't know you. So to attract a guy, or to, if you are married, to continue to motivate him because looks do motivate, guys. That is what I have started to notice, and I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but I've started to notice that guys are, when they say they're visual, they are visual. So when it comes to your hair, when it comes to your makeup, when it comes to your style, your swag, your femininity, all of those things matter. And what I'm hearing from guys is they want, of course, you to do some things to enhance your beauty, but they want to see what your natural beauty looks like as well. So when they see you, they want to be able to easily kind of strip away all the extra fluff, as far as if you do have makeup on. They want to make sure that it's not excessive, because they're trying to visualize you when you wake up in the morning. Are you going to be scary to them? So are you going to completely transform in the opposite direction? So I have even heard teenagers look at this kind of thing, and I think that's where it starts, really, when they're really young, where they be like, okay, you don't need all of that makeup and things like that, because they want you to look. I mean, we joked about it. One of my teenagers, or one of my students, he was about like 18, and he said basically I said, my question to him was like, why is it that you guys go crazy over a woman that has this, like she's fully made up and things like that, but you don't want her to be, you want her to be natural like that? It just didn't make sense to me. And he was saying basically, whatever you do, be able to maintain it. So if you put lashes on, then you need to keep those lashes. So the tip for the ladies is this: if you want to, if you like those looks, because I love those looks, if you like that look, then you might want to invest in eyelash extensions. You might want to get your eyelashes done in a certain way. You might want to, when it comes to your brows, you might want to get the microblading and things like that. Like, really invest in things that are more permanent, to where you wake up like that. You wake up beautiful. So whatever it is that you do, make sure that it is that you're doing your makeup in a way that enhances your beauty, but it doesn't necessarily change your entire look, where they're like, who are you? Because what I'm noticing is that's a turn off. But it's not like you can't wear makeup at all. Same thing with the hair, where certain type of man, I'm not saying all men, but this type of man, where they, especially when you're talking about the high value man and stuff like that, this certain type of guy, they're looking for natural hairstyles. And I'm not talking about like necessarily an afro, but it looks natural. Okay, so something that they can take you anywhere and you're still going to look good, and you're still not going to be out of place. So if you're talking about a certain guy, he has corporate events and different things that he's doing, where you are with him representing as his wife, so you really need to look that part. So when you're out, you, as far as going a little too crazy with the hair, with the different hairstyles, you got to really be careful about that. So whatever styles that you choose, they need to be pretty natural as well. I noticed that a lot of, as far as, ethnicity, I am black, so, I'm speaking from that point of view. A lot of guys are okay with braids, but when it comes to the extra, when it comes to the weave, you got to be very careful with that. I'm all for, extensions. I love extensions, but even with myself, I don't get too bananas with it, just because I know that image is everything when it comes to myself, how I feel about myself, and then also when it comes to my husband, it's important to make sure I represent him in a certain way. And I notice like that is really important, even with the nails and all of that, like being really careful. If you're not sure as a woman, like, okay, what are you really saying? Like, what are you saying about the look? All you have to do is, if you see a couple or if there's a woman and she's married, and she's married to the type of guy that you would want to be married to, then what does she look like? What type of, even like her jewelry, what kind of jewelry does she wear? Like, what kind of clothes does she wear? What kind of hairstyles? Not saying that you have to completely emulate her, but basically a great example of that would be the first lady. Okay. Any first lady, their looks are going to be pretty much the ideal thing, because you don't see them going too far out on the limb. But yes, of course they wear makeup, but it's natural makeup. They do, of course they wear nice hairstyles, but it's a natural looking hairstyle, nothing that's like too over the top. And they wear hairstyles that enhance their beauty. So that was one of the biggest things that I was like, wow. It was just hard for me to accept the fact that guys rank us. Like, that is the truth, and there's no way to get out of that. The second thing that I think that a lot of us miss is the fact that as guys get older, sex isn't everything to them. I've done another video about this, where it was like, what do you bring to the table? I think it's shout out to Troy. I think he was on that one. And I was just talking about how certain men will know better than to ask you that question, but I feel like most men think about that question before they even ask you out. So they're thinking, especially if they're over 30, that, okay, after we get done with the bedroom, what else do you have? So that's where it goes back to femininity, because if you are not acting if you don't have that feminine energy, what does he need you for? If you're operating in that masculinity energy, he already has plenty of that. So there's so much power in femininity. It motivates men. It makes them inspired. You know, you really can inspire a man by just being a woman through and through. So it's really important for you as a woman to evaluate yourself. Like, what is it that I can do? What is it that I can do to basically upgrade him, to make him better, besides lay down with him? You know, because as they get older, they're like, okay, I've been there, done that. That was fun. But I'm looking for a woman to add value to my life. So what are you willing to do to add value? So I know some of this stuff sounds like super basic, but even I have had friends before that they did not cook very well, but they didn't really consider the fact that they needed to try to learn how to put some things together, because what if they connect with a guy that was really important to them? I've talked to a guy that said he was divorced, and he seemed like a pretty high quality dude, and he was saying one of the reasons that he wasn't with his ex was like she stopped cooking. So I'm surprised that came up, but that kind of thing, it really matters. I'm noticing that cooking matters more than I ever thought. But really, you know, doing the things that taking care of him in ways that he needs to be taken care of. And I think it just depends on the person, but I just gave an example of cooking and how important that is for certain guys, as far as I know I had a friend that she would bring her husband's lunch to him like almost every day. He lived kind of like, it was like maybe 30-minute drive, and she would bring his lunch to him. She would pack his lunches. She would help him get his clothes out. Like, she really played her position. And he really appreciated that, and he valued that. So she was bringing more than sex to the table. And respect is a huge one. When respect, meaning that you listen to what they have to say, and you're not listening meaning active listening. You're not just listening, waiting to combat whatever they just said. You're listening and taking it in, and they can see by your actions that they've actually been heard. Okay, so if you're listening because you're being quiet, and then you go off and do whatever you want to do, or you don't acknowledge anything that they said, that is a problem. So when I said sex isn't everything, if you do not listen to them, you don't respect them, and you basically act like you don't need them, then that's going to be a huge turnoff, more than I think a lot of women think, because they feel like if they can put their makeup on, they can get their hair together, their style is out of this world, where they're a head turner. Those things are still going to bring your ranking down. Okay, so that's the real truth, that where you can be beautiful, but if you're talking about a man that is over 30 years old, if you do not respect him in your actions, in your the way that you move around him, then your ranking is going to plummet. So while they may feel like they're turned on physically by you, they're not going to want to be with you. And there's such a huge difference. And I think that women get so confused by this. They get so confused because they're like, oh, I can get a man, I can pull him. So they don't understand why they're not getting into the full relationship, or they're not even if they get into the relationship, they don't understand why it's not working and things like that. That's because that he's going to start treating you differently. He may stay with you so that he can have sex often. He may stay with you for other reasons, but he may not actually marry you. Okay, so there's a big difference, like, of the type of woman that a guy is going to like, okay, she can be my girlfriend for a little bit until I'm ready to actually find a wife, or she can be my side chick for a little bit till I'm actually ready to find someone I want to be in a relationship with. You have to figure out the real truth of the matter is we are put in categories. So we are ranked and we are put in categories. And if you don't think beyond just sex, then you are going to be put into a side chick category, or Netflix and chill category, friends with benefits category, if you are not thinking in the way of long term. Okay, and that hurt. I wish somebody would have told me that a long time ago when I was like at the very beginning of that phase. That's why I'm so passionate about writing a book, because after I got divorced, I was kind of lost out here. I didn't really understand that that men were ranking us the way that they were. I didn't really understand that they were going to put us into those categories quickly, without like little things that we do. So for example, if you are willing to send certain pictures and things like that, if you start talking and he asks for a picture, they're even looking. And guys, please, if you are looking at this, or women, if you are looking at this and you've experienced something different, then please let me know. Or if you've experienced what I'm talking about, let me know that I'm right. Like, yes, you talking right. So type something in the comments to let me know. But if even down to the pictures that you send, your pictures are being evaluated. They're showing your pictures to other people. So you may think that it's just between y'all two, but they're showing, when they have their little social conversations at any age, they are showing your pictures to other people. So whatever image that you want to put out, then you have got to be careful with the type of pictures that you post on social media and the type of pictures that you send just for him. Those kind of pictures, they are evaluating everything. I've even seen guys zoom in to pictures looking at, I remember being so upset because there was a guy that I was dating, and this sounds so silly, but it's funny. There was a guy that I was dating, and he zoomed in to look at my edges, said that there was white stuff around my edges and that I should use a different edge control. So when I tell you that, I mean, he was doing too much, but when I tell you that they're looking at the details, they are looking at the details. They want a crown. They want a woman that they can be proud of. So if you don't feel like you're proud of yourself as a woman, even if you're already married, because now that I'm married, I still have to think this way. I still have to think like a wife. Like, I can't just fall off and not be a crown to my husband, a crown on his head, to where when I walk in, he's proud, there's my wife. Instead of like, yeah, there she is, like that. Either way, like, we cannot stop as ladies. We cannot stop leveling up when it comes to, especially because when it comes to how we look. Weight, I didn't even talk about the weight thing, and I'm gonna have to do another video on leveling up because I'm like going back and still want to talk about that. So I think I'm gonna make that my next video, leveling up, because it is like way more important in a different way. Like, I of course we all want to level up. What are you talking about? Here's my husband on here talk about, no he didn't. I'm not sure. Oh, about my edges. Yeah, no he didn't. See, my husband now, he didn't, this guy I'm talking about, he did not make the cut. No, I'm joking, but yeah, that irritated me too. I would say, I guess my husband would say those are the things that you do not say, even if you see the white stuff on the edges. Like, just work with her, you know, get her a different stylist or something, or offer to pay. that's what my husband did. Like, how, okay, you want to get someone better to do your hair, I'll pay for that, you know, that kind of thing. That's how you address that. You don't talk about her edges. Okay guys, so that was just a random tip. I didn't even know he was watching. The last one that is the real truth about men, that a lot of people have not been acknowledging, is the fact that they get hurt too. Okay, so women, we are so vocal. We are so vocal about the guy that played us, the guy that broke our heart, what we've been through in relationships. We're so vocal with those kind of things. So that being said, I'm starting to notice that guys are equally, if not more, hurt by what they've experienced with women. They just may not be as vocal about it. So that being said, you really have to consider that when whether you're dating or you are actually in a marriage. So if you're dating, you have to consider what he's been through, and you have to consider if you are doing certain things that could be a trigger to him, some things that he's experienced with other women that have nothing to do with you. So sometimes, I will, to women's credit, I will give you this. Some men do not treat you as well as you should be treated because of what they've been through or what they've gone through in previous relationships. So you have to be very careful and trying to listen to this man. Listening to him is so important. I believe, and guys, please correct me if I'm wrong or tell me if I'm right, because this is really important for me to have your point of view. But I believe that a woman who listens definitely improves her ranking. Okay. So physically, when I'm talking about relationship wise, because I have heard of men that maybe this one right here, she may look better, but this one over here, she listens better. So while they want this other one that actually looks better they want her to listen better. They really do. They want her to listen better, so they feel more respected. They feel inspired about to be around her because they're able to sort through some of their thoughts and what they've been going through and things like that. So if you talk to somebody, that's why counselors and coaches are so important, because they listen. So as a wife, and then even if you're dating and you want to become a wife, you really have to listen. So he may choose the one, if you're wondering like, how he gonna leave me and end up with her? Maybe she listens better. So maybe she doesn't look better than you, but she listens better. Okay? So you really have to be careful of you feeling like I'm the bomb.com. And here's a transparent moment, okay? Very transparent. I guess it's easier to say because now I've been there, done that. My ex-husband, he definitely, that was one of the factors. I mean, there was just so many. So I'm not taking full responsibility for the entire failure of the marriage, but this is the part this is the point, okay? And if you really want to know the tea, I'm happy to share as far as the whole story. But when it came down to when I was like, I was looking at looks, right? So I'm like, I look like this and she looks like that. How does that work? And I'm never going to say anything, like I'm never going to tear another woman down, okay? I think we all have our moments, but I'm not into tearing other women down. I'm just saying sometimes, just factually speaking, if you rate this woman versus this woman, you'll be able to clearly see that this woman is better looking. That's just the facts. So that being said, I was like, I know that I am physically considered more beautiful than this woman, but this is the one that he wants to be with. Help me understand. And one of the things that he would tell me is that she listens to him. She was his friend. He wanted me to be his friend. So if you cannot be this man's friend, like like my husband tells me all the time, and it's kind of a joke, but he says, you're my bestest friend. So there's some truth, like there's some weight behind that. If you are not his best friend, there's a problem. So if you're married and you don't feel like you're your husband's best friend, or if you're dating someone and you're not friends, that's a problem. So that's going to affect your ranking, how he's treating you. The fact, when I said the fact that sex isn't everything, that's going to affect that too. Because you're not, like, a man that's older and more mature, he does not want you to just lay down and that's it. He wants more than that. That's the real truth about men. They really want to connect with you. So we got all this, the narrative, like men are dogs, things like that. But the real truth is that they really want to connect with you and they really want to be emotionally close to you. But that you have to, as a woman, you have to basically set a foundation and put a foundation in place using your femininity to make him feel safe with you. When it comes down to men lying and cheating and things like that, I talk to so many men in dating, and then also men and just trying to understand how they think. They will tell you the truth. They will tell you the truth if you set a standard or you set a foundation and make it safe for them to tell you the truth. So that's been one of the biggest ones. I have dated people that I've made them feel so comfortable where they really told me, and it hurt. It really did hurt. But I think one guy asked me if when he was thinking about, he was evaluating whether he wanted to be like pursue us as a relationship or if he wanted to go a different direction. And he felt comfortable enough to say, okay, well, given that we don't live close together, this was BS. But I'm gonna tell you the story in a shortened version of the story. So this is not somebody I slept with. So just to make sure that it's clear, so you don't have to assume anything. This is just somebody that we're just talking or whatever and considering dating. So we're talking on the phone and things like that. I think we both passed the attraction test, but as we're talking, he's trying to evaluate, is this somebody I want to actually pursue a relationship with, or am I not ready for that type of relationship that this person wants? So after he evaluated everything, as he got to know me, he really did say, and he volunteered the information. I guess I made him feel really safe. That was I interested in more of a friends with benefits. And I was so proud of myself because he said, well, no, if I tell you this, I don't want you to treat me different. I don't want you to treat me wrong. But this is how he felt. So I said, I declined, but I tell you this story to say that if you want to know how a man sees you or what, where he's going with the relationship, they will tell you. You just have to listen, and he has to feel like you're not going to blow up if they tell you the truth. Okay? So even something like that, he was like really scared to tell me, but he told me. And I gave men the same type of truth, So I was very honest with the guy. Like I think there was one guy, and he didn't like it, but he had a different religion than I had. So I'm like, I can never see a long-term relationship with you because you have a different religion. So with that being said, because I told him that, of course, I was not treated in the same way because I already put long-term relationship off the table. So it's just really important for at the beginning of the relationship that you establish where you want to go in the relationship. So if you both want to be married, then you say that at the beginning. That does not mean that you're going to marry that person, but at least they know that you're thinking in that way. I've had people that they said they wanted to be, and at the time I felt the same way. They wanted to be married a little later in life, but they did not want to be married right away. That should be something that's talked about, okay? And I do believe that men can handle that. If you tell them, some men they're just going to manipulate, they're going to lie, but that's people. That's male and female alike. But if you tell a guy that you're interested in marriage, they are going to process that. That doesn't mean that they're not going to try to get in where they fit in. That does not mean that. But they will know that they're going to have to move in a certain way with you, but you will be tested. And I used to hate being tested, but there's no way around that. You will be tested. They're like, okay, she says she wants marriage, but yet she doesn't do things that a wife would do. Like they can't necessarily see you in that role as a wife. So you still have to present yourself in a way to help them see that that's who you are already, that you're a wife without a husband, basically. So you have the mindset of a wife. So that whole thing of I'm not helping him with nothing, I'm not, you take care of me, I'm the queen, that kind of an attitude, that will not get you very far. I will say that might get you, they will still lay down with you, but as far as like proposing to you, maybe not, because they're just going to try to get everything they can out of you. until the relationship is until you're just tired of him using you, basically, because you'll start to feel used. You'll start to see it over time. So all that being said, I'm going to recap for a little bit. Brisha, I saw your comment. I can't wait to get your inbox about this particular the podcast recording. And if you had any questions, then definitely hit me up with those questions. Because at this point, I'm actually, usually I haven't been taking a lot of clients, but I'm willing to take a couple. So it won't be a lot. So if you are interested in coaching, like you've never had a coach before, I'm willing to take on maybe 1 or 2 people if I feel like we are a good fit. So I'm willing to do like a 20-minute, it's free, a free coaching session. And I've never been the type that if you can't afford the rates or whatever, the rates are not within your budget. Let me put it that way. If the rates are not within your budget, I'm willing to work with you. Because my goal is to really to help people get through what they're going through. So I want you to look better. I want you to feel better, and I want you to just be better because there's more in you. So that's all I'm really about. So that being said, I've got a program that I definitely believe will help some women like sort through like the junk that they've, the stuff that they've been through. Because a lot of us, we just keep our head down and we keep moving. What I mean by putting our head down, I mean that there's some stuff that's happened and it didn't feel good, and we just dusted off and we just kept going. So we move forward regardless. But there's that kind of stuff you do have to sort out. Because that affects you being able to be everything that you can be. So you really, to operate fully in your femininity, you have to take the load off. And if you've got a lot of healing work to do, then you're heavy and you feel like sometimes you feel powerless. And given the fact that when you feel powerless, a lot of times people go into that fight mode, right? So that's where you get into that masculine energy. I can say so much about this. Hopefully that part wasn't confusing. But if you have got some stuff to sort through, I do have some answers and solutions. But I always like to end my videos with a love lesson, because that's what this whole series is about. It's my love lesson series. So I like to end my videos with a love lesson. And the love lesson is that you do have to level up to get the type of man that would be the best fit for you. Okay? So when I'm talking about leveling up, I'm not talking about just your looks. I'm talking about in every area. So when it comes to, back to my points, that the facts that men rank you, and you're not necessarily ranked on your career. You're not necessarily ranked by how much money you make. So when women, this is one of our biggest mistakes when we go around talking about, when they say, oh, well, tell me about your, tell me especially if you're like, dating for the first time and they're just trying to get to know you, first date type of stuff. They don't want to sit and listen to you talk about your career for a substantial amount of time, because it sounds very masculine for you to go into that, because men are really proud of their careers. Men are really proud of the amount of money they make. Women, we just have a different way. It's not saying that we can't be proud of it, but we just have to move in a different way, and we don't want to overemphasize our careers and levels of education, because it doesn't rank as high as we think it does. For us, when we're looking at a man, it's everything almost to us. We're like, how much money we make, what's your career, so it's literally not everything. That's an exaggeration, just to be clear, but we look at that as a bigger deal than men. So men, they look at like your physical attraction, how you make them feel. That's a bigger deal to them. Does she make me feel like I'm respected? That's a bigger deal than if you if you are a 6-figure earner as a woman, a guy on a lower level that doesn't make 6 figures, he might rank you higher for that, for sure. But a guy that also is on your level financially, for you talking about how much money you make in your education and things like that, and you don't look that good to him, it's just not, and then you wonder why he picked this other woman. Or say you make 6 figures as a woman, and you're having an amazing career, but you don't listen and you're disrespectful, and then you wonder why he picked this other woman, or why you was in a relationship with him for 5 years, and then he goes and meets this new woman and he marries her within 6 months. You wonder why those kind of things happen. It really has to do with you operating in your masculine energy and thinking that just because you have this career and you have a certain amount of money, that is really going to impact his decision on whether he wants to build a long-term life with you. So anyway, back to the love lesson. Leveling up to get the type of man that will be the best fit for you. That is really, at the end of the day, if you want to know the real truth about men, they really are looking at your ranking and whether you actually deserve what he has to offer. And that's the hard cold truth. I mean, it was really tough when I realized that men are looking like, why should I give you everything I have? So if you talking, you want a marriage, you want to be married to him, that's him basically taking on everything, especially if you have children. So that means that you want this man to take care of you and your children. And if you are not willing to level up, to offer something in return that equates to the same thing that you want him to do, it's just not happening, because guys are looking at this very logically speaking. Okay, if I give her all of this and then she giving me attitude, nah, she's not that cute. Nah, that's another story, but I've been on here almost an hour, so I can't even tell you that. But that's another story from my marriage where I was definitely told that before, that I was not. I've leveled up since being married previously, but that was one of the motivators, because I was definitely told that at one point. It was a horrible thing to say, but I think it was definitely his truth, that men sometimes they look at you and say, a woman looking like that, she's only going to get this from me. A woman looking like this, she can get everything from me. So that being said, basically pay attention to the details when you are leveling up. Look around. You can kind of survey to see what do you need to do. So if you need to, as a woman, if you need to lose weight, lose the weight. If you need to learn how to do your makeup better, learn how to do your makeup better. If you need to get take care of your hair better, get different hairstyles, figure that stuff out, because all of that stuff matters. And when it comes to the personal development stuff, get a coach, get a counselor, get feedback from your friends, so that you can actually level up. So the level up, the glow up, all of that, those terms is so real. And this stuff matters whether you are in a relationship. It matters whether you are out of a relationship. It matters regardless of your status, that you really have to continue to level up. So So if you are a wife, this particular podcast, it still applies to you. If you are single and you want to become a wife, it still applies to you. Even if you are not really sure how you feel about it, you still need to level up just for you. Even if you're not even looking for a guy to marry you, you still need to level up because you deserve to be the best version of you. Okay? And like I always say, I always try to end every video with making sure that you always remember that no matter what you've been through, no matter what you will go through, there's always still more in you. So what I want you to do, if what I said resonated with you, anything that I said resonated with you, and you want to hear a little more, you can go to moreinYouCoaching.com, and I do have a free ebook on there, and then you can also order the actual book by inboxing me, or it's on Amazon as well. And then if you're interested in the coaching session, just go ahead and book that. Or if you just have a question, then go ahead and shoot me an inbox, or you can email me at moreinYouCoaching.com, or I'm sorry, that's my website, moreinYouCoaching.com. Or if you actually have a question, you can email me at moreinYouCoaching@gmail.com. I knew I was going to get it right eventually. But thank you for listening, for everybody that caught this live. And then also anybody that is listening to the replay, thank you for listening. And I hope that you check out the YouTube channel playlist. Give me some feedback on that. And until next time, there's more in you.